These are the people who did not give up.
Wake up every morning to a new day, new beginning. Just keep going.
Even when they lost nearly everything.
That's when you know, okay, it can't get any worse.
Or had nothing to begin with.
Why am I living somebody else's dream and not fulfilling my own?
They had a purpose, an idea, and they found a way.
You have to be willing to put it all out there.
Since 2018, we've told you their stories on TV. Now it's time to break out of the box. A new set of entrepreneurs.
My dream has always been to own different businesses.
New challenges to overcome.
Business is business, but first thing, our mission is to save lives.
But this time, we start at the beginning.
I'm not gonna go just work in an office and go 9 to 5 every day and show up and do the work I need to do. It's like, this is all just purely mine.
Their stories, their risks.
I think it's a pretty huge chance, but it's worth it for the greater good.
And their success in real time. This is Southwest Florida Reinvented, moving forward.
In the midst of a pandemic, we started a business.
Yes.
Because we don't stop. You know, it's not where you come from, it's where you're going.
Yes.
And faith without fear is our motto.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Shaw. So this was the episode where we were supposed to introduce you to a man named Sean Skove. 2020 changed just about every part of Sean's life. His health, his career, his future, all of it took a new path. And our plan was to sit down with him at a Naples comedy club to talk about what got him here and his new passion, doing stand-up.
Do you feel comfortable sharing the reason why we're meeting like this today instead of in person?
Yeah, so I did get a positive COVID test. It was a rapid test, and unfortunately I have been quarantined for 10 days and I am COVID positive.
So we're gonna have to wait a little while to tell you about his backstory, but it is a story worth waiting for. And a little later in this episode, we'll tell you about some projects he's working on right now. But first, I wanna introduce you to our newest business owners. COVID plays a role in their story too, but their business and really their lives are built on something much stronger, family.
This is the foundation of our business.
When I told her we were doing this story, Winifred Cofield grabbed her phone, went right out, and took these videos.
My house set right in this location that now is the new location for the neighborhood park.
Why was it important for you to take those videos and to let people at home see those videos?
Being raised in Harlem Lakes, a lot of people see it as just such a bad area, but there's a lot of people that came from that neighborhood that are now successful. And I want other people to know and other kids to know that, you know, you can do it. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it.
It's not a cliche. It's the soul that drives this new business, and it's something they inherited from their parents. James Parson was the son of a South Carolina sharecropper. He had no education, but he built a concrete finishing business in Fort Myers. Susie Brown raised 7 children in that Harlem Lakes house and then decided to go into business for herself.
My mom, went to school at 40 years old, cosmetologist. She was the top of her class.
What is it about them that they had such an impact on your life?
Well, they taught us the foundation of hard work. You know, growing up, my mom, her favorite slogan was, "Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream." So whatever you want, you got to get up and get it.
It makes sense then that not even 2020 could knock this family down. When the year started, Winifred was living with her husband and family in Fort Myers, and her sister, Elizabeth Puckett, was with her family in Columbus, Georgia. Early on in the pandemic, like so many people, Elizabeth lost her job, and it became clear to the entire family that their mother, who was a widow and now living with severe dementia, was not safe in her nursing home.
And it was rapid. COVID was all in the nursing home, so we were like, we don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna figure it out.
The siblings began caring for her full time, and Elizabeth moved back home to help out.
It did get hard sometimes, but we still stand strong.
Their mother is not the same person she was years ago, but her wisdom is still true. Elizabeth, who worked for a cleaning company for a decade, decided it was time, as her mother used to say, to get up and get it. She asked her sister if she'd help her start a business.
She was like, hey, let's do it. I'm on board. Let's go for it.
In January, they started Maids on the Move. The freedom of having their own business lets them also care for their mother and hopefully build something to honor her.
We want to show people you can do it. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. And we're good people, we're trustworthy, we're reliable. Hey, we're ready. We're not where we want to be right now because we're new. We're starting, it's a home-based business at this point, but I just have such a great feeling that God is gonna grow this business and we're gonna be able to employ other people. And we want to also teach other people how to start their own business. You know, there's a small business I think I sent you the email about. It's called Hard Hats Construction. My husband is one of the owners. He took our hand and just walked us through it. Hey, this is where you got to go. You got to do this. You got to do that to make it happen. They did not waver. They showed us. They paid it forward. And we are going to do the same thing.
What kinds of things did they teach you as you were just getting off the ground?
Well, they said, okay, you have to go to Sunbiz to create a name. You know, every step of the business. They were willing to help us. You know, it's kind of difficult being in business and other large companies. They don't have the time or they don't even take the time to show a small business or give them the opportunity.
So how do you get to the point where you let people know that you're out there?
Well, what we've started doing, we have a Facebook page, and I've been marketing on Facebook. My sister and I, we've been marketing on Facebook. We have flyers that we're going to different businesses, you know, messaging different companies. Joe North was one I just messaged and like, hey, we're a small business in the community. We're from Fort Myers, we're family-owned, faith-based, we're ready, you know, we're just ready to team up with companies and let them know we are hardworking and we do a great job, you know. So we're just trying to market the best we can until we can afford to market like the big guys, you know. So.
And the goal right now for Winifred and Elizabeth is to try to find a couple of commercial clients. We'll update you on how they're doing in a few weeks.
Back to Sean now. A few months ago, he did something he's never done before. He walked onto a comedy club stage and started telling jokes.
So you are relatively new to at least being on stage in this capacity. What is it like being up there?
Yeah, I've actually surprisingly only have been doing comedy for just a little over 5 months. I started towards the end of last year. You know, it's kind of funny. I talk to comedians that are like, man, COVID really messed up comedy and it's so hard now. And I'm like, well, I started in COVID. So to me, this is just the normal. When it gets back to normal, I'll tell you what that's like. But it's to perform for over 100 people, to perform in sold out comedy clubs is, I get chills just thinking about it. I mean, it's almost indescribable. Because it's not like music where there's a beat and there's instruments that help, you know, and you know that are there other than just the vocals. But when you're just a comedian, it's just you talking on a stage. There's nothing to help you out. You're either funny or you're not. And if you're not funny, they'll let you know very quickly. But it's truly incredible to go from essentially no one, you know. No one really knew my name before about 5 months ago to I now have my name in a show that is seen, you know, all over the world.
He says he's hooked up with streaming service Core TV. One of the projects they're planning is a festival-style show in Southwest Florida that'll include music acts and several comedians.
I know you're working your act and you're working on getting yourself jobs, but you're also you have this wider goal as well.
Yeah, I think especially with the show, I don't think people really realize, you get the comedians, you get some people to watch, you get a stage, and oh, it is so much more than that.
But it's work he enjoys, and he's not just focused on himself. He wants to work with promoters to bring more comedy to Southwest Florida.
Let's talk about your act. How would you describe it to people?
I describe myself as an intellectual dark comic. There's a lot of ways that you can approach dark comedy, but I like to approach it with a very intellectual perspective that maybe will get more credit than just a quick 20-second little dark joke. It's much more thought out than that. I talk about things that maybe people don't necessarily like to talk about or want to talk about, but I feel like when you make fun of something, one of my favorite comedians recently spoke about this, when you make fun of something, you're making it easier to talk about. You're making it something that we can laugh at now instead of just have that negative emotion about it. It's helping people come together on these types of things and laugh and realize, that there's more ways to handle something with than just hate and misunderstanding. What I'd like to see happen is I'd like to try to become a regular at one of our local comedy clubs or bars. That's one thing that a lot of comedians try to do. You put in work. And it's not just simply being funny at a comedy club, which I found out. They want to see you at their shows. They want to see you at their events. They want to see that you're putting in just as much time into them as they will potentially do for you.
What is the mindset that somebody has to have when they start this process?
A mentor of mine told me a long time ago, you cannot give birth to an adult.
Next week, baby steps. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me at chris.shaw@fox4now.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. Until next Thursday, this is Southwest Florida Reinvented, moving forward.